Sonny and kind of his training time and match time? What's the latest on him?
I guess the main one for us this week's been Matt O'Sullivan, who unfortunately, during training, got a significant injury to his knee. So that's disappointing because he'll miss some significant game time, obviously, over the next few months. So that was disappointing because he was, he was contributing to us already and growing into his role, and with Ivan Perisic already down, that it's not ideal when you lose another player in that position. So he's obviously out. Brennan Johnson was close, but again, he's not quite 100%. And for us with the international break, we're kind of hoping that he'll get that time during that to be available straight after. And from last week, everyone else is okay. Sonny's fine. He trained the last 2 days, and he's no problem.
James Madison as well, similarly, you have to wrap him in cotton wool a little bit?
No one's wrapped in cotton wool, mate. There's no cotton wool here. There's, it's only barbed wire and uncomfortable uniforms, mate. So they all work hard every day. They just have different programs. But Matters has trained all week. He hasn't missed a session.
You touched briefly on the VAR incident last week, but it's been a week of developments. The audio's come out. It was obviously a horrendous error. Now the dust has settled a little bit. What's your view on it all?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a weird one because, like, usually when something major happens, you get a sense of it during the game, and I don't think anyone really had a sense of that something significant had happened. Certainly, maybe I'm just focused on the game, but I didn't get that sense. I think straight after the game, Anth mentioned to me that there was a statement coming out, but even then, the first sort of questioning I got wasn't really about that. And then it was only when I got to the press conference and all you blokes were muttering amongst yourselves and not listening to me that I knew something important must be happening. And then you kind of realise what's happened, and obviously fairly significant event during a game of football that you kind of, and look, whatever I say is probably maybe going to be seen through the prism of we were the beneficiaries of a mistake, and we certainly were that. There was, the facts of it are there was a legitimate goal that Liverpool scored that wasn't given. You kind of look at why it's not given, because that's obviously the first thing you kind of question. Well, what's broken down? Obviously something's broken down, and it became pretty clear there was it wasn't an integrity issue. It wasn't misappropriation of the law. It was an error, in communication, a mistake that cost Liverpool a goal, and that's what it was. And I get that it's an unusual one in that it's never happened before, but at the same time, we're kind of in a new space anyway with technology, where I think there'll be a lot of firsts with the way we deal with these things. As I said after the game, my view is that we want an errorless, faultless system that I just don't think exists and will never exist unless we want to turn our game into like other codes where, the event goes for 4 hours where we're explaining every decision.
It's a hypothetical question, but if you had been aware of the gravity of the error, would you have done a Bielsa maybe and given a Liverpool chance to score a goal?
I just don't see that as, if we want managers to be the arbiters of these kind of things. I mean, we've got pretty hefty responsibilities at our football clubs, but we're not the custodians. I wouldn't make a decision that potentially could send your club down, or could potentially on the back of what my beliefs are. And in that moment, if somebody can tell me that they could explain everything that went on within the sort of prism of 30 seconds that I have to make a decision, wasn't going to happen. I mean, it's different if it's something clear, but it's quite obvious that it was a bad error, a bad mistake, like I said, through lack of communication, but it wasn't something that was easily explainable, because if it was, I would assume there would have been more uproar during the game than there was.
I know you don't want to talk about Fonz again, but you could go top of the league this weekend.